Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Pumpkin Spice Bundt Cake. This pumpkin spice bundt cake is a really fantastic recipe, especially around the holidays. It's something that I've come to really love from my wife's family, who makes these pumpkin bars really year round, especially whenever I ask for them, which is like my birthday, any holiday ever. They're topped with this fantastic cream cheese icing, and I asked my mother-in-law, can I take your recipe? Can I tweak it just a little bit? We want to put it into a bundt cake form, which we've tested out, and it just came out incredible. So moist, so tender, and I love it topped off with our twist on that cream cheese frosting with a little bit of bourbon inside. We're gonna start this thing off with 1 cup of vegetable oil and 2 cups of white sugar. So onto the stand mixer with the paddle attachment. And we want to just get these things incorporated over medium speed. As that starts to come together, we're going to add 1 egg at a time, just until it's incorporated, and then add the next. And we have 4 eggs total. Next, we're going to combine the dry ingredients. We're going to start off with 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then a teaspoon each of baking powder and baking soda. And then to put the spice in our pumpkin spice, we have 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And last, just a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. Give it a whisk to combine everything. And then we can get this mixer going again over medium speed. We'll take it down to low to add some of our dries. We're gonna go with about half of the dry ingredients to start. And as that first half of the dry ingredients is incorporated, we're gonna add half of our pumpkin puree. This is just a canned pumpkin puree. We'll take just a quick break to scrape everything down. I'm gonna make sure everything's incorporated evenly. We don't end up with any clumps of anything. And then we'll get this going once again and add the second half of the dries and the second half of the pumpkin. All right, so just until that all comes together. And again, we're gonna scrape the sides, fold everything around, and add 1 last ingredient, and this one is optional. We've got a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. And you can just fold those in by hand. So we've got our 9 3/4 inch bundt pan here. We're just gonna hit it with some vegetable oil, pan spray, make sure nothing sticks, and add the batter to the pan. And this batter settles pretty easy, so just a little wiggle should level everything out. Today we're baking on the YS640 pellet grill. It's set at 350 degrees, and we have an indirect grilling setup. I'm gonna place our cake here to the right, away from the direct heat of the firebox, and just let that bake until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean, or about 1 hour. Well, it's been about 1 hour and 10 minutes total now. We've been checking with the toothpick for the last 10 minutes, waiting for that perfect moment where there's nothing coming out on the toothpick. If you want to come in here, I'll show you what I mean. So since about that hour mark, we've been checking here. And if you see, we've got just a little, that's just chocolate on the outside. Let me see if I can miss a chocolate chip. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. And you want to stay on top of this. Because if you're checking frequently, you can get just that perfect doneness where it's all the way cooked through, but it's not dried out, not even just a little bit. Now at this point, we need this thing to cool down at least to room temperature so that we can frost it. We're gonna make a frosting featuring that cream cheese and the bourbon we talked about earlier, but if we do it while it's hot, it just all runs off the top. For us, today, it's the end of our work day. We're gonna head home, so I'm gonna let this cool down to room temp. I'm gonna throw some plastic over it and put it in the fridge overnight. We'll get back to this tomorrow. We're back, the cake is back to room temperature, and we're ready to whip up some of that bourbon cream cheese frosting. Well, we're back in the bowl for the stand mixer, and we're starting off with about 7 cups of powdered sugar. I'm gonna add to that 6 tablespoons of room temperature butter and 4 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. And finally, we'll do about a teaspoon of bourbon. So we'll get this on the stand mixer with the whisk attachment this time and start slow. And then just gradually increase the speed as everything gets incorporated. All right, starting to come together. We have one more ingredient to add, and that's the milk. But before we do that, we want to make sure that this is all mixed pretty well. We got to incorporate some more of that powdered sugar into the mixture. I've got a 1/2 cup of milk I'm going to start slowly adding. And all of a sudden we've got frosting. All right, so we got the entire 1/2 cup of milk in there. Again, we're just gonna give this a scrape and then continue whisking until we don't have any lumps left. All right, this is looking nice and smooth. Look at that, pretty. Now let's turn the cake out of the mold and get it frosted. Not bad, we left a little bit behind right here, but we're gonna cover it up with frosting anyway, so no big loss. All right, so we're just gonna kind of spread it evenly. It's gonna look thick at first, and that's okay. There's quite a bit of frosting here, but trust me, it goes perfect with the amount of cake that you have. Is it sweet? Yeah, it's sweet. But sometimes you gotta treat yourself. Just gonna work this all the way down to the platter. See any thin spots, we'll layer it on just a little bit thicker. Right there. We'll work to cover the entire surface on the center as well. And we'll just finish it off with some more of those mini chocolate chips. Now this icing's a little bit warm right now and it kind of wants to move. This is gonna slice a lot better if I let it set up a little bit, so I'm gonna throw it in the fridge for now. But the frosting's set up really nice, so let's slice into it and see how we did. Look at that, beautiful. Nice and moist in the center. Let's get a taste. Just one of my favorite desserts. It's really dense and the flavor is really packed in there. You get that density out of the oil rather than a butter or something like that. This cake tastes like family to me. I'm super excited to share it with you guys, and I hope you'll cook it for your family this holiday season. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, please hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to thesauce.atbbq.com. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.